Let's get straight to the point. You're standing in a room that reeks of copper and rot, staring at a leather apron stiff with what you've been pretending is rust. The police are 2 floors below, asking questions about your tenant in 13 Miller's Court, and you're trying to remember exactly when you stopped believing his excuses about the butcher shop. But before you understand how you got here, you need to understand how this whole arrangement started and why you didn't ask questions when you should have. The year is 1888 and you're drowning, not metaphorically. The East End floods every autumn and your building floods with it, and the rent you collect wouldn't fill a teacup. Your wife died last winter. Pneumonia, officially. Starvation, truthfully. You own 4 floors of rotting timber in Whitechapel, and every tenant you have is one missed payment from the street. Then he arrives, well-dressed, soft hands, pays 3 months up front in crisp notes, says he's a medical student, needs privacy for his studies. You don't ask what kind of studies, you ask if he wants the attic or the room with the window. He takes the attic. Cash doesn't have an odour. That's what you tell yourself. The first month he's a dream tenant. Quiet, polite. Sometimes you hear him moving furniture at odd hours, 2 a.m, 4 a.m, but he pays on time, and that's all the due diligence your bank account can afford. He's building his practice, he says. Needs to work when inspiration strikes. You nod, you collect the rent. Then Martha Tabram turns up dead in August. 39 stab wounds. The papers call it savage beyond comprehension. You read about it over breakfast. Your tenant reads about it too. You catch him at the table, absorbed, tracing the description with his finger. Terrible business, you say. Fascinating, he replies. Something in his eyes. Something bright and hungry. You pour more tea. You don't ask. September brings Polly Nichols, throat cut so deep the vertebrae showed. Annie Chapman, 8 days later. Organs removed with anatomical knowledge. The police are calling it the work of a surgeon. Your tenant works late every night now. You hear footsteps, running water. Once, at 3 a.m, you're climbing the stairs and catch a smell, like the slaughterhouse on Commercial Road, but sweeter, wronger. He's standing at the top landing, blocking his door, shirt spotless, hands pink and scrubbed. Landlord, he says, voice smooth as cream. I wasn't expecting you. You weren't expecting him either. You make an excuse about the plumbing. He smiles, doesn't move. You leave. The next morning he pays another 3 months up front. You deposit it, you say nothing. Here's the thing about willful ignorance. It's a bilateral agreement. You don't ask why he needs so many candles. He doesn't explain the locked trunk. You don't comment on the clothes he burns in the courtyard. He doesn't mention that you watched him do it. It's a brutally efficient meritocracy. People who ask questions in Whitechapel tend to suffer regrettable accidents. You're just the landlord. You collect rent. That's the story you tell yourself, while Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes get carved up the same night. Double event, the papers call it. Your tenant doesn't come home until dawn. You hear him on the stairs, humming. By October, you've perfected the art of not seeing. The stains on the carpet outside his door. Not there. The smell that permeates the 3rd floor. Bad drainage. The leather apron you found in the shared washroom, stiff with something dark, belonged to the previous tenant, probably. You're a world-class expert in plausible deniability. Then Mary Jane. Kelly happens. November 9th. The worst one. The papers can barely describe it. Body systematically dismantled, room painted red, hours of methodical work. You read about it and feel your coffee turn to acid. Your tenant doesn't come down for breakfast, doesn't come down for 2 days. When he finally emerges, he's pale, shaking. He looks at you like he's seeing you for the first time. I'm leaving, he says. The rent, you start. Keep it, he interrupts. He's gone by evening, no forwarding address. The police arrive 3 days later. They've received a tip. Anonymous, they want to search the premises. You lead them upstairs with the confidence of a man who truly, genuinely has no idea what they'll find. Except you do know. You've known since September, maybe since August. The attic door swings open, and the smell hits you like a physical blow. The trunk isn't locked. Inside, surgical tools arranged like place settings at a dinner party. Jars of something preserved in liquid, diagrams, sketches, journals in handwriting you recognize from the rent receipts. A detective picks up a jar, squints at the contents. How long was he your tenant? 6 months. And you never suspected? You open your mouth. Close it. The truth is too expensive. He was quiet, you say, instead. Paid on time. They take you in for questioning. Not as a suspect, as a witness. You tell them everything, which is to say, nothing useful. You describe him. Average height, average build, soft-spoken, educated. He could be anyone. That's the most terrifying part. The police thank you. Tell you you're free to go. You walk back to Miller's Court through streets that suddenly feel different. Every well-dressed man could be him. Every quiet tenant. You realise you're looking for him in every crowd, and you don't know if you're afraid he'll appear or afraid he won't. The Ripper vanishes. The killings stop. The world moves on with the speed of a city that sees horror daily and has learned to metabolize it. You keep collecting rent. New tenants fill the attic. You raise the rate, murder premiums. You joke to yourself, but you're not joking. Years pass. The case goes cold, then colder. You read every theory, follow every suspect, but none of them feel right. Because you knew him, shared tea with him, took his money, let him kill 5 women, maybe more, while you performed the most impressive feat of selective blindness in London's history. Sometimes you wonder if you could have stopped it, if you'd knocked on his door that night you smelled the blood, if you'd checked the trunk, if you'd asked one direct question instead of accepting the comfortable lie. But here's the most ironic part. You knew the answer wouldn't let you keep the building. In the grim calculus of poverty, some prices are too high to pay, even when they're measured in other people's blood. You tell yourself you didn't know. You tell yourself you couldn't have known. You tell yourself enough times that it starts to sound almost true. The building still stands. You still collect rent. A new tenant moves into the attic. Young man, medical student, pays 3 months up front. You take the money. You don't ask questions. After all, cash doesn't have an odour, and you've already proven you can live with the smell of anything.